Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om. Devotees, so we have been seeing Narada Bhakti Sutra. Bhakti is the eternal relationship between the eternal Jivatma and the eternal Paramatma. As an individual Jivatma, I am the reflection of pure consciousness on this part of this whole universe called this body and this mind. Ishvara is a reflection of consciousness on this entire universe. So, from the point of view of this body, mind, and the small set of karma, samskara, these are a part of this universe. Ishvara is the entire universe. So, out of this whole physical universe, this body is an infinitesimal small part. Similarly, out of this whole universe, the life in this whole universe, this individual life in this body is a very, very small, minute part. The same with knowledge. Of all the knowledge that is there in this universe, whatever knowledge which is held by this individual mind is very, very small part. So, like this, in every aspect, whatever this individual body, mind, intellect, everything is there, is a very, very small, minute part. Ishvara is the whole, and this individuality is a small part. Now, the same pure consciousness gets reflected in this small part and also on the whole universe. The consciousness reflected on this small part is what I call as myself, the Jivatma. The very same consciousness getting reflected on this whole universe is what is claimed by Ishvara as himself, as the Paramatma. So now, understanding that at every level, this individuality is a very minute, insignificant part of this whole, that this knowledge, when I understand and when I absorb it, think over it, look at the implications of it, automatically I will get surrender. I will completely be free from arrogance and completely understanding my dependence on Ishvara. I surrender to Ishvara. And by that surrender, I will be able to give up this individuality, give up claiming this individuality. It is all in the mind, right? So I just have to give up claiming myself as apart from God or apart from Ishvara, different from Ishvara. I cannot be separated from Ishvara. Ishvara is the whole, and I am a small part of Ishvara. Now, considering this, I will be able to give up attachment to all these finitude, give up attachment to this individuality, and be able to identify myself with the pure consciousness. So, this is the steps, right? And Sri Ramakrishna used to quote often the prayer of Hanumanji. Deha buddhya dasoham jiva buddhya tvadamsakah atma buddhya Tavaivaham iti maya nischita matihi. So, Deha buddhya dasoham. When I consider myself as this body, then I am the slave, you are the master. Then Jiva buddhya tvad amsakaha. If I consider myself as Jivatma, that is the reflection of consciousness on this body. I am not considering myself as the body. I consider myself as the reflection of pure consciousness on this body. I am pure consciousness, but individual consciousness and the reflection. So Jiva buddhya tvad amsakaha. I am your part. And then Atma buddhya tvaivaham. When I consider myself as pure consciousness, as Atma, then you and I are the same, because you are also a reflection of the same Atma. I am also a reflection of the same Atma as an individual. So when I give up my individuality, then as Atma, there is no difference between me and you. So Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita and Advaita are not contradictory to each other. They are expressing the same truth from different reference points, from different standpoints. Dvaita is from the standpoint of the body. Vishishtadvaita is from the standpoint of the Jivatma. And Advaita is from the standpoint of the Atman, the pure consciousness, the original consciousness. So, the first one is the reflecting medium. The second one is the reflected consciousness. The third one is the original consciousness. This is the terminology which Paramarthananji uses. So, depending upon what I identify myself with, there is different levels of understanding. And they are complementing each other. They are contradictory to each other. And Hanumanji says, this is my firm conviction, Nischita Matihi. Now, this is quoted by Sri Ramakrishna several times in the Gospel. This is the position of Sri Ramakrishna. So, we need to understand the truth. Truth is so simple, right? This one shloka has the entire truth, right? We just need to move from lower truth to higher truth. As Swami Vivekananda says, suppose if you take a picture of the sun and you keep going closer and closer to the sun, and if you keep taking pictures, the pictures you take from the earth will be very different from the pictures you take from, let us say, a hot air balloon, which will be very different from what you take from a satellite. But if you go still closer to the sun, the picture will still be different. But then all of them are pictures of the sun. You cannot say one is false, the other one is true. You can only say there is a lower truth and there is a higher truth. So that way, you go from lower truth to higher truth and finally realize that I am pure consciousness. And bhakti is the way to it. That is what we have been seeing. So, to summarize Narada Bhakti Sutra, the 5 points which have been highlighted by Sri Ramakrishna, how to go, what is Bhakti Marga? So, this is Bhakti Marga. Seek holy company, discriminate between permanent and transient, constantly chant the name of the Lord, do all your duties with detachment, meditate in solitude occasionally. This set of 5 sadhanas is called Bhakti Yoga, right? And of course, as we have discussed before, the different yogas are not watertight compartments. It's always a combination of all, right? So, out of whatever has been listed here also, we can identify that they fall under the 4 yogas. But overall, following all these together is the Bhakti Yoga sadhana as prescribed by Narada. So when we say Naradiya Bhakti, This 5 is called Naradiya Bhakti. This 5 put together is called Naradiya Bhakti, and that is what Sri Ramakrishna recommends for Kaliyuga. We have seen the first 7 chapters we have completed, and we will continue to the 8th chapter today. So the 8th chapter has verses 58 to 73, and it says, Bhakti is the easiest of all paths. Its results bring peace and happiness, free from anxiety. Surrender to God and give up pursuit of this worldly and other worldly goals. Don't let the mind disturbed by bad thoughts and people. And the person who has gained one-pointed devotion has reached the goal. He is a blessing to the world. So almost all the topics have been already covered in the previous chapters. So this is mainly a reiteration of the topics and a restatement of some of them. So we will see as we go. So the 58th sutra says, Anyasmat sulabham bhaktau. So bhakti is easier than other paths, right? Now when we say bhaktau here, so it means we have to see the lower and higher both bhakti, right? Like the then pramana antarasyat anapekshatvat swayam pramanatvat. So bhakti is, you don't need a different technique to prove the efficacy of bhakti. So it says pramana antarasyat because its proof is in itself. It is self-evident. Swayam pramanatvat. Pramana means proof or evidence, right? And its proof is in itself. Antarasyat means like you will see it in your own heart, right? And anapakshatvat, anapekshatvat. So it is non-dependence, right? So apeksha means dependence, anapeksha means independence, and anapekshatvat means because of its independence. So bhakti is the easiest of all paths. Why? Like, because other paths need, if you want to go for jnana yoga, you need a lot of high intellect. You have to think logically, right? So, which is difficult. If you want to go for karma yoga, you have the danger of getting attached to the results, attached to the work, and also you have to work a lot. You need good health, you need good communication, you need so many things to be able to do karma yoga. And if you look at dhyana yoga or raja yoga, you need to be able to sit and meditate, right? So your mind should be under your control and you have to follow yama and niyama, only then that will happen. So there is a lot of difficulty in other paths. Bhakti yoga is easy, right? So suppose a general person comes and asks you, I want to start following spiritual life. What should I do? I want to start following spiritual life. What should I do? So basically the instruction will be, pick up some mantra which you like and keep chanting as much as possible. And do dana, give money in charity, dana, and read some good books, listen to some good lectures. So these are the 3 instructions which typically would be given, right? So dana, japa, and swadhyaya. Now, once a person starts doing these three, then the rest will start following as the person develops and as the person spends more and more time and effort into these three, then the Lord will open up more avenues, more possibilities. Things will start going. So remember this: if anyone, any random you should not go and tell by yourself, okay? Because free advice has no value. If someone comes and asks you, what should I do? Then this is what you tell them. Right? Just try to lead a moral life, do charity, right? Give dana. Dana is the basic of spiritual life. You have to give dana, right? Even if a person is earning 1,000 rupees, let him give at least 10 rupees, 20 rupees in dana, right? At least 2%, 5%, 10% can be given in dana without hurting. So dana is very, very important, and following an ethical life. But following ethical life right from the beginning, if you say, people will get switched off there only. They'll say like, no, it is not possible. So even that we can say it is okay. That will come later. As a person progresses, ethical life also will start. You have to put in effort, but then if a person doesn't have the value for a high ethical life, then you even say it's okay. Chant the name of the Lord and give in dana, try to help others. And slowly things will start becoming fine. As a person progresses in spiritual life, he will see the value of leading an ethical life. All those things will get added. And bhakti is considered as the easiest path because every one of us have bhakti or devotion or love towards someone or the other. There is no person in this earth who does not love another person. Even the worst criminal will love his own children, right? Now, if he may even beat his wife, he may even, but then when it comes to his own child, he will have some love in a corner of his heart. So there is no one in this world who is completely devoid of love towards another person. And when you say love here, love is always giving. We should not confuse love with attachment, right? Love is always giving. So every person has love towards some people in this world, right? And it is just that we need to redirect that love towards God. And the moment we understand who is Ishvara and what is our relationship with Ishvara, automatically love will come. It is the lack of knowledge and conviction is what stops us from loving Ishvara. So the moment we understand to some extent, right, what is Jivatma, what is Paramatma, what is my relationship with God, then automatically love will arise. Gratitude will automatically be there. When we look at our own insignificant nature compared to Ishvara, automatically surrender will come. So everything will come moment we meditate or think deeply upon who am I and what is my relationship with Ishvara. So practice of Bhakti Yoga is very simple, right? So we have seen this already. So what do you mean by practice of Bhakti Yoga? Do all your duties as offering to Ishvara for his pleasure, right? Now, initially, as I said, like you start with Kamya Bhakti, but eventually it will automatically graduate to Nishkama Bhakti. But here we are talking about Nishkama Bhakti. And reduce indulging in sense pleasures, avoid gross entertainment, right? This is something which even Narada Bhakti Sutras will repeatedly keep saying, which basically like try to reduce, like, try to reduce indulging in sense pleasures, and then seek holy company and other sadhakas, and choose a spiritual practice. Don't keep changing it. If you have a guru, best. If you don't have a guru yet, then pick up something and follow. And we saw the three levels of doing sadhana. One is in the mind, mane. So always remember the Lord. How do you remember the Lord always? By chanting the name of the Lord. So Nama Japa is the means by which we can remember God. Our objective is to remember the Lord always. How can we do that? By chanting His name. So right from the time we wake up, anytime we eat something, and anytime our mind is free, and before going to sleep. So fill the mind with the Nama Japa. And then we saw Kone. So do spiritual practice twice a day, right? Preferably at the two Sandhya times, 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the evening. Otherwise, it is okay. Just ensure that before breakfast, before dinner, you do your spiritual practice. And then occasionally take off for a spiritual retreat, right? So every lot of ashrams all over the country, they conduct spiritual retreats every month or every 2 months. So participate in them. So this this Sunday, there is 19th July, there is spiritual retreat at Alsur Ashram. Those of you who are in Bangalore can participate. Morning 8:30 to 12:30, there will be spiritual retreat, various talks, bhajans, chanting, and it's a good time to spend half a day, and prasada will be served in the afternoon, so you don't need to worry about where to have lunch. So like this, every ashram they run spiritual retreats, because Sri Ramakrishna himself has recommended that you have to occasionally go into solitude and practice spiritual discipline. And it is difficult to have discipline in solitude. So the best alternative to that is spend half a day in the company of sadhus and other sadhaks. So that is the Vane, right? So this is the krama of Bhakti Yoga. So if you look at it, it is compared to the other yogas, it is in fact very, very easy, right? It is very tangible. It is very easy. You can just do it. And once you start doing it, results will come. So there is a beautiful book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In that, there is one argument one conversation where one person comes to a counselor and then says, "Sir, I don't have love." And there, of course, the context is a family. So he says, "Sir, I don't have love for my wife. How can I develop love for my wife?" And the response by the counselor is very beautiful and significant. He says, "Sir, love is a verb." You know? So this one statement, love is a verb. Like, don't treat it as a noun. It is not something you wait and then it happens to you. No. Love is a verb. You actively, proactively do something. That is what is love, right? So this entire page, whatever given here, this is a spiritual sadhana. So this is what is love. So you don't say like, "Oh, I don't have love. What should I do?" No. Love is a verb, right? So you just do this, and this is what is love. If someone says, "Oh, I don't have bhakti, how do I develop bhakti?" So you say, like, simple, like, there is a list of instructions given, you just follow it. Bhakti will come, love will come automatically. So, from this point of view, bhakti is actually pretty easy compared to the other yogas, right? Now, the next sutra, Sutra 60 and 61, we can see Shanti Rupatvat, right? Because it is of the nature of peace, Shanti. And Paramananda Rupat Cha, because it is a nature of supreme happiness. So, what do you mean by Paramananda? Parama Ananda means absolute happiness, supreme happiness. So, yesterday we had discussed the difference between Vishayananda and Bhajanananda, right? So, Vishayananda, it has the, it spoils the sense organs, whereas Bhajanananda strengthens uh, the means of where you get that happiness, right? The more you indulge in sense organs, the body will become weaker and weaker. But the more you involve in Bhajanananda, your mind and your love will become stronger and stronger. And more sense objects will give lesser and lesser happiness, whereas more and more chanting the name of the Lord and more thinking of the Lord will give greater and greater happiness. And whatever it is, there is always a limit to the amount of pleasure that you can get out of the sense organs. And in case of Bhajanananda, in case of the pleasure or happiness got out of the worshipping Ishvara, there is no limit at all. So, because of all these reasons, it is Paramananda, right? The happiness got out of bhakti is Paramananda. And it is of the nature of peace. What do you mean by peace? Not worrying about the ups and downs of life is peace. The dvandva we saw in the last class, right? So, nirdvandva is Shanti. Not being affected by the ups and downs of life. Life will have ups and downs, but bhakti to Ishvara gives you a cushion. It gives you something like a shock absorber. Paramarthananji calls it as a shock absorber. That whatever happens in life, you say, so what? And you become immune to the sufferings of this world. So that is what is Shanti. So the first is Shanti. Shanti is you are not affected by the ups and downs of life. And then Paramananda Rupacha is not only you are not get affected by the ups and downs of life, you also get a positive happiness within, right? So it's not only lack of negative, but it is also a highly positive thing. Shanti says it is not negative, like you are free from the negatives. Paramananda says you also get a lot of positive happiness. Loka hanau chinta na karya nivedita atma loka vedatvat. Right? So you are free from you are not anxious about the miseries of this world, right? So that is what basically is describing what is Shanti. How do you get it, right? Because you are saying the Lord is running this world, and why do I need to worry, right? Like the truth is, we are not running this world. The Lord is running this world, and He knows how to run this world. He doesn't need our judgment. He doesn't need our advice how to run this world. So often that is what we forget. You say, oh, like it should not be like this, it should be like that. Why is it happening like this? It should happen like that. Now, the simple answer to all that is, I am not running this world. The Lord is running this world. He knows how to run it. So if it is my duty, I will go and do it as service to the Lord. But if something does not come under the purview of my duty, I don't worry about it. The Lord will, it is not my job, right? So basically, like we stop becoming anxious about the miseries of the world. And Nivedita Atma Loka Vedatvat. So there are three things here. Nivedita Atma. Here Atma here means self. The small self here, right? The mind, the body. Now those are indicated here, right? So those you have offered to the Lord. Actually, they already belong to the Lord, right? This body is a part of this whole universe. This life is a part of this whole universe. This mind is a part of this whole universe. Nothing belongs to me. But I wrongly claim these. And by bhakti, I surrender it back to the Lord, which rightfully belongs to Him only, right? So it's all mental, right? There is nothing which is physically already everything belongs to the Lord only. But wrongly, I have been claiming it before, and now I stop claiming it. I give it back to the Lord and I say, Tavasmi, oh Lord, I belong to you. So that is Nivedita Atma. And Loka Loka Vedatvat. So Loka is worldly pursuits and Veda is religious rituals. So everything we surrender to the Lord. Now, what do you mean by surrendering Loka Vedatvat, the worldly pursuits and religious pursuits? That is the question is, does it mean I should not do them? Should I stop doing them? That question will come. So the next sutra gives the clarification for that. Na tat siddhau loka vyavaharaha heyaha kintu palatyagaha tat sadhanam cha. Right? So, what do you mean by Atma Loka Veda, giving it up, surrendering that, right? So, it is not stopping doing them, it is only renouncing attachment to the fruits of them and to the body and mind, right? So here, tat sadhanam means the instrument of doing worldly duties and religious rituals is the body and mind. That was what was mentioned in the previous sutra as Atma, right? That is mentioned here as Sadhanam. So the body and mind that we renounce, and also the Phala Tyagaha. We only renounce the fruits of action to the Lord. So we do our duties, but not for the fruits, but for Ishvara Priti, for the pleasure of the Lord. The Lord has given this duty to me, so I will do my duty. So the Lord has put me in a position of the son of these parents, or the husband of this person, or the wife of this person, or the children of this person, right? So, or the father of this person, mother of this person, employer in this company, or running this business, citizen of this country. So many positions the Lord has given us. He has placed us in this position. So we do all the duties that are expected from that just to please the Lord, right? So we saw, right? Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. That's what we saw in the Gita, right? So Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. Doing all our duties as offering to the Lord. So that is what is given here, right? Not to gain wealth, not to gain pleasure, not to, gain name and fame. Those will come as per prarabdha. You don't need to even worry about that, right? As per prarabdha, whatever a person is supposed to get, the person will get. Some people are born wealthy, some people are get a lot of success in life. Some people are born in a middle class family. Some people are born poor. Some people are, like, so all these differences will be there as per prarabdha. So we should not be arrogant or proud where the Lord has blessed us. And we don't need to be dejected because the Lord has given us less also. Everything is the will of the Lord. Doesn't matter. Wherever the Lord places us, we have to do the duties that are expected from that position and surrender the results to the Lord and say, "Oh Lord, I have done my best. So you take care of the rest." Right? That is what is mentioned in this sutra. Then there are some things to be avoided. What should be avoided? Stri, dhana, nastika, charitram, na shravaniyam. So stories of lust, wealth, and people identifying with the body mind should not be heard. So a person who wants to progress on spiritual life, a person who wants to develop bhakti in the heart should avoid these things, right? So doesn't mean you should not watch movies at all. Be very, very, very selective. Watch only good movies. Be very, very, very selective on what videos you watch, on what books you read, right? Be very, very selective. And anything that promotes, that glorifies lust, wealth, and the dehabhimanam, right? The identification with the body, anything which relates to that should be avoided, right? So, stri, dhana, nastika, charitram. Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly keeps saying Kamini Kanchana Tyaga. So that is exactly here what is there in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, right? Kamini is Stri, Kanchana is Dhana, right? So Kamini Kanchana Nastika Charitram Na Shravaniyam, right? Don't watch unnecessary serials, unnecessary movies, unnecessary social media content. Don't read unwanted books, right? So be very careful in what you feed your mind with, right? So it's very explicit, right? What is not to be done is very explicit. Then abhimana dambha adikam tyajyam. So abhimana is having pride, right? Having a sense of superiority complex. Dambha is going and bragging around, talking to others about your own achievements unnecessarily where it is not needed, right? So abhimana damba adikam. Adikam means etc. Right? So as I told you, like 13th chapter, 7th to 11th shlokas talk about the sadhana. 20 sadhanas are talked about in sequence. It starts with, right, the uh, we should not have abhimana, right? So abhimana damba adikam tyajyam, right? So this is what is the sadhanas. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantir, arjavam. So amanitvam is abhimana tyagaha, adambitvam is damba tyagaha. So basically the same, basically when he says etc., the reference to this Narada Bhakti Sutra is those 5 shlokas in the Gita. Because exactly the same sequence only he starts here also. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantir, arjavam, acharyo, pashanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma nivedana. So it keeps going that way. So here the first 2 are given, amanitvam, adambitvam. So we'll have to understand that the rest are also implied here. Then tadarpita akhila acharaha san kama krodha abhimanadikam tasmin eva karaniyam. Right? So this is again, we see in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he says in multiple places, if you have to be angry, you be angry with Ishvara for not having blessed you with Vairagya. If you want to desire, desire God. If you want to be proud that you are a devotee of the Lord. So basically, like, direct all the emotions towards the Lord. Bhagavatam also says the same thing, and Narada Bhakti Sutras also says the same thing, and this is what is repeated by Sri Ramakrishna also in the Gospel. So, tadarpita akhila acharaha san. So, if a person has dedicated all his actions and pursuits towards the Lord. So, we have seen, right, like all worldly duties and the religious rituals you do for Ishvara Priti alone, not to satisfy anyone in this world, not to achieve anything in this world. All these worldly goals are not relevant at all. The only goal is Ishvara Priti, right? So even if you are going and buying grocery for your house, or you are writing some code for your employer, or you are doing some social service, everything is for the Ishvara Priti alone. Nothing for satisfying the worldly people, right? So everything is only for God. So that is tadarpita akhila. Akhila means part, akhila means everything, without any exception. Khila means exception or part. Akhila means without exception. So tadarpita akhila acharaha. Right? Every activity, all actions are dedicated towards the Lord. Then kama krodha abhimana adikam tasmin yeva karaniyam. So expression of all these things should be only towards the Lord alone. Right? So this is what this sutra says. Then Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam Nitya Dasya Nitya Kantya Bhajana Atmakam Prema Karyam Prema Eva Karyam. So it says Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam. So Trirupa is the three gunas, Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. So Trirupa Bhanga Purvakam. So basically you cross over, transcend the three forms of bhakti. So Tamasic Bhakti, Rajasic Bhakti and even Sattvic Bhakti. So we discussed yesterday. Tamasic Bhakti is where you torture the body in the name of pleasing the Lord. Krishna says, avoid it, don't do it. And Rajasa Bhakti is doing bhakti, doing puja and everything, but as a show off to other people who are around, to say, see, you know, how dedicated I am, how holy I am, you know. So that is Rajasa Bhakti. That also should be avoided. And then Sattvika Bhakti is purely for the Lord alone, right? The pure Bhakti, as prescribed in the scriptures, you perform for Ishvara Priti. Now, what do you mean by transcending even Sattvika Bhakti? Now, that is a question, right? So, suppose, let us say you are every day you are doing puja in the morning, and one day there is, for example, let us say you have to go and go to the railway station at 4:30 in the morning to pick up your in-laws. Suppose your father-in-law, mother-in-law are coming in the train. The train reaches at 4:30 and you have to go to the railway station to pick them up. So you think, okay, fine, I will go and pick them up. I will drop them in the house and then bring them to the house, and then I will do my japa and everything. And every day, let us say you spend half an hour, 1 hour in some parayana, puja, everything. So you that day you go, and there you go to the railway station, you wait there, and then the announcement comes, the train is half an hour late. So now you cannot do anything. You have to wait there. Then after half an hour, still the train hasn't come. Again, the announcement says the train will be another half an hour late. So let us say it happens and it becomes 6 o'clock, 6:30. By the time the train actually comes and you are held up in the railway station, waiting, and 6:30 you pick them up, you come home, and then obviously like you have to do your basic things, and then you'll have to, let us say you have to leave to office at 7:30. So now that day, because of the circumstances, you could not do your regular puja, parayana, whatever. Now, how will this affect your mind? On days when you are have time, when everything is there, where you do your puja, parayana, everything, you are in very good mood, you go around with full enthusiasm and do everything in this, do all your work. Now, there can be situations where the circumstance will force you where you have cannot do your regular routine. Now, even at that time, can you maintain your enthusiasm, everything, or you just keep complaining, oh, because of this train, because of this father-in-law, mother-in-law, because of this, because of that, today I couldn't do my puja. And do you keep complaining about it? Do you carry a grudge? And do you carry a frown on your face throughout the day? Now, if you carry a frown, if you are complaining and grudging, then you have attachment even to doing puja. Doing puja is good, but then you should not be attached to doing puja. In case there is a circumstance where you have to skip, it's not possible for you to do. Now, that should not make you keep scolding everyone, and that should not make you angry and put you in a grudge. That should not make you behave irritated with everyone. That is not right, because that is attachment. So pray to the Lord, surrender to the Lord, do, and then you say, oh Lord, today, because of these circumstances in which you have put me in, because everything happens by the will of the Lord only. You say, like, this is the best I could do. Please let me do, give me opportunity to do my puja, everything in future. So Sri Ramakrishna says, with one hand you hold on to the Lord, with the other hand you do all your work, and you pray to the Lord, oh Lord, please free me from other work so that I can hold on to you with both my hands. Right? So the other work is also given to you by the Lord only. So if you want to get free from other work, and if you want to spend all your time in thinking about the Lord, that also you have to pray to Him only. No point in complaining about the people in this world, right? No point in saying, oh, because of my wife, because of my children, I'm not getting time to worship the Lord. No. The situation has been given to you by the Lord. So if at all you have some demand, you have to go to the Lord only. Don't complain about the world, right? So that is called transcending even the sattvic bhakti, right? Then Nitya Dasya Nitya Kantya Bhajana Atmakam. So in the Bhagavatam and in other bhakti scriptures, there are various bhavas towards the Lord. Dasya bhava, right? Shanta bhava, Vatsalya bhava, then Madhura bhava. So like this, there are different bhavas. In the gospel also, Sri Ramakrishna gives the various bhavas and he explains all that. And in the Bhagavatam also, in Prahalada when Prahlada talks about the Navavida Bhakti, right? The last three are basically various attitudes towards the Lord, right? Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So Dasyam is as a servant, Sakhyam is as a friend, and Atma Nivedanam is your complete surrender to the Lord. So now here Narada is mentioning Nitya Dasya, Nitya Kantya, Bhajana Atmakam. So you serve the Lord as a servant and wife. So Dasya Bhava and Madhura Bhava are mentioned here. And different devotees, if you look at in the Bhagavatam and even the life of saints, various devotees have taken up various bhavas as their primary mode of sadhana. Right? So then prema karyam, prema eva karyam. So doing all these, assuming dasya and kantya bhava is the act of devotion. This is the only act of devotion. Right? So this is what this sutra talks about. So bhakta ekantinah, bhaktaha ekantinah mukhyaha. So one-pointed devoted devotees are the primary devotee. So basically, like who are the highest devotees? Who have got one-pointed devotion. Now, what do you mean by one-pointed devotion? Like you don't have any worldly agenda, right? There is no worldly agenda. Bhakti is towards the Lord. So Krishna in the Gita calls it as the goal has to be God, right? Ishvara has to be the goal. Etu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya mat paraha. That mat paraha is a very important word. Mat paraha means having me as the goal, right? So that is what is called as ekantinaha. The goal is God, nothing else, right? So they are the highest devotees. And how does bhakti manifest in the emotions and in this body? Kanta avarodha romancha ashrubihi. So kanta avaroha means choking in the throat. So when you have deep bhakti, you won't be able to swallow your saliva also. So basically you will find that your throat is choking. And romancha is horripilation. The hair on your body will stand on its, like it will stand on its root. So basically like horripilation will happen. And ashrubihi means water, the eyes will have water, right? So you will have water coming out of the eyes. And remember like Mirabai song, Asuvana Jala Sincha Prema Bija Hogi. So the Prema Bija, the seed of love, I have planted in my heart and I am watering it with my tears. So very beautiful way of putting it. So it comes in Mirabai Bhajan. Asuvana Jala Sincha Prema Bija Hogi. Right? So basically like, the bija of love grows by watering it with the tears in the eyes. So when you have supreme bhakti, when you realize who is God and what is my relationship with God, and how insignificant I am compared to Ishvara, and how by the will of Ishvara everything I am getting in this world, you will develop bhakti, gratitude, and by that your throat will choke, horripilation, watery eyes, all these things will happen. Sri Ramakrishna talks about it repeatedly in the gospel also. He talks about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested all these signs, and these are pretty common, right? And parasparam lapamanaha. So the devotees talk to each other about the Lord. So this is mentioned even the Gita also, right? So they keep kathayanti. So Gita says they keep talking about me with each other. And then Krishna says, in their hearts uh, I wake up the light of knowledge from within. So 10th chapter, Krishna says. So basically, the devotees talk with each other about the Lord, and while talking with each other, they get choking, horripilation, tears, everything. Pavayanti kulani. Now, such people who have this kind of a devotion, their lineage is purified. Pavayanti kulani. Because these are all physical signs, the physical manifestation of bhakti. And this body has come from the ancestors, right? Our father, our grandfather, great-grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother. So this body has come from the ancestors, and in a way, their genes are there. This body is an extension of their bodies. So that way, this body is nothing but a part of the entire physical body of the lineage. So when we involve in bhakti, when this body has this choking and horripilation and tears, this purifies the entire lineage, because this body is not separate from the body of the other members of the physical lineage, right? So my father's body, my mother's body, my cousin's body, these are all related. And so when one person attains Jivan Mukti, it is said in the scriptures, 7 generations of ancestors, they get freed. So all these things are given also in a way so that we encourage our children to go and we inculcate bhakti in our children also. So if a child becomes a monk, then it's a great spiritual blessing for the parents, for the grandparents, for the grand-grandparents. For 7 generations, it's a great blessing if a child becomes a monk, if a child becomes a jnani, if a child becomes a Jivan Mukta, right? So they say 7 generations of ancestors are blessed by that. So we have to encourage our children to be devoted to the Lord. We have to encourage our children to become monks if they are oriented in that direction, right? If any of our children are inclined to take up to monastic life, it's a great blessing for us. It's a great blessing for our entire kula, for our entire lineage. So people say, well, if someone becomes a monk, then what will happen? Who will continue the progeny? The very purpose of progeny is that someone becomes a jnani and brings glory to this entire lineage. Now, if someone is preventing their children to become a monk or to go on the spiritual line, then the very purpose of progeny is being denied. The very purpose of having children is so that even if not us, let our children become monks, let our children take up to religious life and let them become Jivan Muktas. By that, the lineage will get blessed. But if someone is preventing the children from getting into religious life or from becoming monks, then the very purpose of having the lineage is being lost. So, Pavayanti Kulani. When a person becomes a devotee like this, the entire lineage is purified. Right? So, we have to encourage our children. We have to also become great bhaktas. We have to encourage our children also to become bhaktas. And we have to encourage our children also to take up to monastic life if they are inclined. So, we should not prevent them. So, and Prithivim cha, the entire land where they were born, that also gets purified, right? The entire earth. So, that the place where such devotees live, that place, their hometown, their state, the country, the entire earth, everything is purified by these tears of the bhaktas, right? The tears which are shed by pure bhakti purifies the lineage and the purifies the land. This is what this sutra says. Tirti kurvanti tirtani sukarmi kurvanti karmani sat shastri kurvanti shastrani tanmayaha. Right? So, we all go to various places of pilgrimage. Kashi, Rameshwaram, right? Like Prayagraj, Gaya, Kedarnath, Badrinath. So many holy places are there. And we all go to the holy places. Now, how do the holy places become holy? The holy places become holy because holy people visit there. Tirti kurvanti tirthani. Even the holiest of holiest place is holy only because great devotees, great saints visit them, have lived there, and they are and continue to visit. Like every pilgrimage place, if you see, it has been blessed by the visit and by the life of various holy people. So that is what makes the place holy. So here what Narada says is a place is not holy in itself. It is holy only by the visiting of holy people. Tirti kurvanti tirtani. Sukarmi kurvanti karmani. So even in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, what is the standard of good action? It says, those which are done by noble people are good action. So the standard for righteousness comes from these holy people. What they have done is what is the right thing to do. So the standards, they set the standards for what is the right action. And Sat Shastri Kurvanti Shastrani. They give authority to the scriptures. Right? So even if you say in the Gita, repeatedly Krishna says, thus say the learned people, right? Urdhva moolam adashakam ashwattam prahuravyayah. So that prahuhu. So he says, this example of inverted banyan tree, urdhva moolam adashakam, right? Avyaktam. So this is not my example. Krishna says, prahuhu. This is what I have learnt. This is what wise people have told. So, entire Gita, if you see, there are so many places where Krishna repeatedly says, this is what the wise people have told. This is what the scriptures say. This is what the knowledgeable people say. So, he doesn't claim ownership of the ideas in the Gita. He says, this is what I have learnt. So, the authority for the scriptural statements comes from these holy people, these bhaktas whom we saw in the previous shloka, right? Whose throat is choking, whose has horripilation, whose eyes have tears because of bhakti towards the Lord. Now, it is those people who have bhakti fully manifested in their life. It is they who sanctify the pilgrimage places. It is they who set the standard for right action, and it is they who give authority to the scriptures. Right? So, why? Because tanmayaha. They are the true manifestations of God. So, this is something which we discussed a few classes before, right? This world is like a movie created by the Lord. This is like a novel, right? This whole thing is done. And it is the Ishvara alone who has written the scripts, the dialogues for everyone in this movie. So that way, everything is a man in this world is a manifestation of Ishvara only, right? Everything in this world, whether it is a table, chair, tree, dog, right? Everything is a manifestation of Ishvara only. But then Ishvara manifests at different levels in different people. So, in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, when Pandit Ishwara Chandra Vidyasagar visits Sri Ramakrishna, he asks this question. When everything is a manifestation of the Lord, is there a hierarchy in the manifestation? So, this is a question Vidyasagar asks Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna replies to Vidyasagar, see, you are you are very famous and you are very noble. We have come to meet you. Do you have two horns? Sri Ramakrishna asks Vidyasagar. He says, like, see, the Lord is manifesting more in you than in some other ordinary person. That is why you are noble, you are famous, and we have come to meet you and we have come to talk to you. So, it is a truth that the Lord manifests more in some and less in some. We cannot deny this. Everyone is a manifestation of the Lord. That is the truth. But then the gradation is there. There are some places or some people where the Lord manifests more, and there are some people where the Lord manifests less. A thief, a criminal is a person where the Lord manifests very less. A saint is a person where the Lord manifests more. So, this difference we will have to accept. So, these people, the devotees of the Lord, are where the Lord manifests fully. Avatara is the highest, where the Lord manifests completely. And saints are where the Lord manifests pretty much, but not maybe as much as an avatara, but still there is a very high manifestation of the Lord. Noble people, honest people, yes, they are manifestations of the Lord, right? So everything that we see noble, holy in this world are high manifestations of the Lord. Whatever we see as wrong, vile, selfish, right? They are basically lower manifestations of the Lord. So in this world, the saints are true manifestations of the Lord. Their words are the true message of Ishvara. The next sutra says, Modanti pitarau nirtriyanti devataha sanatha cha ayam bhu bhavati. So, these people, because of them, their ancestors rejoice. When there is a Jivan Mukta, when a person attains bhakti, when a person becomes a jnani, then his ancestors or his or her ancestors, they dance, they rejoice. Devataha nrityanti, the devas dance. And this world has got a new savior. Nata means a leader. Sanata means with the leader. The world has acquired a new savior, a new leader. So basically it is a great joy, right? So we'll just take some more time and finish this chapter. नास्ति तेषु जाति विद्या रूप कुल धन क्री आदि भेदः. So among who attains Jivan Mukti, who becomes a great Bhakta, there is no distinction, right, between Jati, Vidya, Rupa, Kula, Dhana, Kri, Adi Bedaha. And also, they also don't see any difference. Anyone can become a Jivan Mukta, anyone can become a Jnani, and the Jnani also don't distinguish at all. So, what are the distinctions here? Jati, that is birth. Vidya, what is your education? Rupa, your physical beauty. Kula, lineage. Dhana, how much wealth. Kri, what is your profession? So all these things don't matter at all. Yataha tadiyaha, because they are his own. So irrespective of what is their jati, vidya, rupa, kula, dhana, kri, they are all belong to the Lord, and all these distinctions don't hold good for bhaktas. Holy Mother says a beautiful statement that there is no caste among devotees. Right? Holy Mother has made a statement that among devotees, there is no caste distinctions at all. You don't need to, the moment a person is a devotee, you don't need to see any distinction. You should not see any distinction. A person might be rich, a person might be poor, a person might be good looking, not good looking, educated, uneducated. Nothing matters. The moment a person is a devotee is a devotee. Right? Bandhava Siva Bhaktascha Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. So, Pitame Parvati Devi, Pitame, so Shiva is my father, Matame Parvati Devi, Pitame Maheshwaraha, Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. So, Shiva is my father and Parvati is my mother, and all devotees are my relatives, right? And every place is my native place. So that is the attitude of a devotee, right? My father and mother are Ishvara, and everyone is my relative. So among devotees, there is no distinction at all. So this is what we have seen in this chapter. Bhakti is the easiest of all paths. It results in peace and happiness and free from anxiety. Surrender to God, give up the pursuits of this worldly and other worldly goals. Do your duties, but don't have the goals as this worldly or other worldly prosperity, right? Then don't let the mind be disturbed by bad thoughts and people. Keep away from bad mental input. The person who has gained this one-pointed devotion has reached the goal, and he is a real blessing to the world and his entire lineage. So this is what we have seen in this chapter. Yes, Satish.
Yeah, quickly I'll complete. So the word manifest actually, so that word I'm still trying to understand. So you're saying like there is a one entity, and out of it has come all the world, and then again it goes into the same entity. So that in itself is a process, and there is some this thing is happening, and manifest word in itself is an action. So how do you like say that there is, I mean, how do we justify the action activity or the process?
See, this Ishvara doesn't need anything. He doesn't have any purpose to be fulfilled by this world. Okay. So this world is a spontaneous expression of his creative power. I gave you the example of if you lock up Rabindranath Tagore in a room with paper and a pen, he will just start writing something. That is how this world is. And in the drama that the Lord has created in this world, there are different characters. There are dogs, there are cows, there are thieves, there are holy people. Everyone is there in this big drama which is created. And this whole drama is created so that we wake up and we seek the Lord and we realize the Lord. And there are some characters in this world through whom the Lord speaks his mind, whose words are the teachings of the Lord. We cannot take the words of a thief. We cannot take the words of a criminal. We cannot take the words of some person who is running behind sense pleasures. We cannot take the words of those people as the words of Ishvara, even though their dialogue also was written by the same Ishvara. The same novelist only wrote the dialogue for everyone. But then you cannot quote the dialogue of a thief in a novel of Rabindranath Tagore and say Rabindranath Tagore says so. You cannot say that, right? Suppose there is a novel written by Rabindranath Tagore in which there is a thief and the thief justifies why he is stealing, right? Can you quote that and say Rabindranath Tagore says so and quote the word of the thief in one of his novel? We cannot say so. It is not correct. Even though, yes, Rabindranath Tagore has written that dialogue, but that is not the message of Rabindranath Tagore. That is not the opinion of Rabindranath Tagore. It's just a dialogue in a novel which he has written. But you cannot quote that and say Rabindranath Tagore says so. If you want to quote what Rabindranath Tagore says, either you have to take a saint in the novel. In Rabindranath Tagore's novel itself, there might be a saint who might say something. Now, his words can be quoted, saying Rabindranath Tagore says so. Or maybe like, he has written not a fictional piece, but he has written some article, some essay, where he has expressed his opinion directly, which you can believe. So, if you want to quote Ishvara, you have to either quote the scriptures, which is like an essay written by Rabindranath Tagore, or you have to quote the words of saints, who is a part of the creation of Rabindranath Tagore, right? So, that is why we say Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Tanmayaha. That word Tanmayaha means the real message of Ishvara is expressed through the words of these saints, through the action of these saints. Sat Shastri Kurvanti Shastrani, which means through the words of these saints. And Sukarmi Kurvanti Karmani, right? By the action of these saints. It is by these that Ishvara expresses his teaching. Understood? So there is gradation in this world. You cannot take the words of everyone, right? So you have to pick and choose, and Ishvara himself. So the Narada gives on what basis you pick and choose. Basically, bhaktas. Choose the words of the bhaktas, he says. The whole objective is this thing, education, right? You get to know what is the truth and you realize your true relationship with Ishvara through these words. Does that answer your question, Satish?
Yeah, I'll take it up later. So like,
Okay.
I
Okay.
have a few
Fine.
questions.
Yeah, we can discuss more. Like you can ask again, maybe in the next class, you can ask in different words so that I can address your question.
Yeah,
Example.
thanks. Thank you.
Okay. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा. Sri Ramakrishna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ramakrishna. Jai Ramakrishna.